Hello and welcome to EveryDad DIY. I'm Gavin. Today we're going to be taking a look at some tools and other things that I think are useful to have around the workshop. So stick with me and let's get started. Right, so before we get going, I just want to say that you'll notice going through the video a lot of my tools are cheaper brands and second-hand tools and things like that. I'm a dad of three. I have a very limited tool budget. The tools I have I've collected over many years. So the first thing I'll say is don't be afraid to buy some of the cheaper brands. I've used them forever, and I very rarely find a tool that is catastrophic and doesn't do what it is supposed to do. Obviously the more you spend on the tools, the better quality you're going to get, and if you're going to really use your tools, you definitely should invest in them. I'm a DIYer, I'm a hobbyist, so you only need to go through a certain amount of wear. Okay, so in front of me are a selection of tools that I think are essential for doing a bit of DIY. We'll go through them here pretty quick. The first is ear protection. You can get these fellas, or you can get the little conical lads that stick in your ears. Eye protection. If you're doing a bit of sanding down or anything like that. Dust mask. They're not for painting, so don't use them. Handsaw, cutting down timber. Hacksaw, light metal, PVC, stuff like that. Pliers, you're pulling nails, cutting stuff, very handy. Snips, you're going to be replacing a plug on anything like that. Snips is very handy. Good selection of screwdrivers. You want long ones, short ones, different size heads, plain, Phillips, just a good selection. Some filler knives, if you're filling a hole in a wall or anything like that. An ordinary Stanley knife or utility knife, very handy. A torch, if you're doing any work under a sink or anything like that, very handy. Measuring tapes, self-explanatory. Pencil, self-explanatory again. Adjustable spanner, very handy to have. You can get them in different sizes, always using them. Vice grips, very handy for holding stuff, turning stuff, anything like that. Got a level, hanging up pictures straight, stuff like that. And of course the first tool most people buy, a hammer. This is a claw hammer for pulling out nails, hammering in nails, stuff like that. The only other thing, and I don't have one because I broke it, is a face tester. If you turn off the power and you want to check whether a socket still has power or not, you stick it in, it'll light up if there's any power left in there. Don't use them as a screwdriver because they're not able for it. Right, so this is the next set of tools we're going to go through. These are kind of the next step after the essential tools. I find myself using them fairly often. So first up we have the caulk gun. If you're doing it around a sink or a bath or anything like that. A set of spanners. A square. This is a sliding square, very handy. A wire brush. A hatchet, making your own kindling and stuff like that. A bolster, we're knocking out bits of concrete and blocks and stuff like that. Some clamps, you always need a third hand in the workshop. Long nose pliers, sometimes you just can't get the regular one in. Some files, some present, round, flat ones. Some wood chisels. Plasterboard saw, if you're putting anything into the walls or anything like that. Plasterboard saw is very handy. Some wire strippers, you're rewiring a plug or a socket or something. We've got a crowbar, sometimes you can't get the claw hammer in there. Selection of Allen keys. A cheap calipers. Some steel rulers, a lot more exact than using a measuring tape. And a staple gun. It's very handy for recovering stuff and things like that. Okay, so these are the power tools that I think are the first ones I'd pick up. You've got your battery drill, so handy, putting in screws, drilling holes, anything like that, very good. With the little small lithium ion batteries, much better. You can get them with the nickel cadmium or whatever it is, but to take forever to charge, the lithium ion charge so quick. I'd definitely spend the extra 20 quid and get the lithium ion batteries. You've got your corded drill then for when your battery drill is just not up to it. You've got the extra power, you've got the extra torque, you've got hammer action. Yeah, drilling into masonry walls or using hole saws, anything like that, really good. You've got your mouth sander or your pad sander, sanding down doors, skirting boards, anything like that, save your arm. You've got a rotary tool, you've got all different attachments, you've got saws, you've got sanding bits, you've got wire wheel bits and die grinders and router bits, and I've actually even made a router attachment for it. I just find it very handy. And then we've got the jigsaw. You can cut anything with it. You cut wood, plastics, light metal. All you do is just change the blades. Very handy for cutting lots of stuff. Right, so these are other tools you might see me using in my videos. I use them quite a bit. I've got a fairly varied interest, so I have lots of different bits and bobs. The first one you'll see there is the soldering iron. I have a few different ones, but they all do the same job. I like doing a bit of electronics and making up circuits and bits and bobs. You'll see the heat gun there beside it. That's good for taking off components and things like that, very handy. You'll see beside that the angle grinder, very good for cleaning off metal, cutting metal, just so many bits and bobs. I do a bit of welding as well. That's good for cleaning off the metal before I weld. Beside that you'll see the belt sander, handy for flattening off large areas of timber. I also mount it on its side and use it as a kind of drum sander. Back there you'll see the bench grinder. Yeah, I use it for sharpening chisels, taking burrs off stuff. I like to have the sanding wheel on the side, it's good as well. Beside that you'll see the chop saw. It's probably one of the most used ones. I use it for everything, chopping down bits of wood and PVC and just everything. Is just really handy. And you'll see the scroll saw there as well. I like to do a bit of scroll work. I like to sit down and just cut something out. I think it's therapeutic. Make something for the house, it's nice. Beside that you'll see the blowtorch, good for heating up metal and stuff like that. And then behind that you'll see the drill press attachment. You just put your corded drill into it and it works like a drill press. It's not nearly as good as a drill press. I'd much rather have one of those, but it does the job for now. And then this fella then is the circular saw or skill saw. Yeah, I've made a guide for it. It's good for cutting off large areas of wood, getting a nice straight edge. Yeah, so they're the main tools that I use around the workshop, and yeah, you'll probably see them in a lot of videos. Okay, so here's some miscellaneous bits and bobs that I find handy to have in the shed. We've got fillers, we've got wood filler, we've got wall filler, we've got some silicones for going around your baths and sinks and stuff like that. We've got expanding foam, handy for filling holes in blockwork and stuff like that. Then we've got some cable ties. Now we've got some 2-pack adhesive, goes off really quick, very handy. Some no more nails, some WD-40, some wood glue, some spray on adhesive for fabric or cardboard, just a glue stick. We've got some fuses here for your car and for your plugs. These are those little cable tidy fellas, you knock them in. Then we have some Gorilla Tape or duct tape. We've got some insulating tape. This is double-sided tape, very handy. Masking tape, very good masking off, or even if you're trying to mark out something and you can't see the lines very well, put on a bit of that, it's much easier. We've got some super glue, some spray-on lacquer, I find them much handier than painting, and wood thinners or white spirits. Okay, so in front of me here are a selection of drill bits. I was lucky enough to get this a couple of years ago from my wife. Yeah, it's a good little set. It doesn't have everything. I still have other bits as well, but it has quite a few, so we'll go through them here now. So the first drill bit is this fella. You'll notice it doesn't have any great point, or it doesn't have any ears on it. That's for drilling metal, as opposed to this fella, which you'll notice has quite a big point on it, and also two little points either side. That's for drilling wood. And then we have this fella. You'll notice that on the very head it has two ears either side. That's your masonry bit for drilling into walls. And then we have your spade bits, like this fella. They're for drilling holes. You'll notice there's quite a large point on the top. Sometimes that can work against you because you mightn't want to go all the way through your piece of timber or whatever. In that case you'd use a Forstner bit, which looks like this fella. So you can drill pretty much all the way through with that. It's only quite a small point on the top. That way you wouldn't pierce the other side. You've got your center punches. Very handy for drilling on a smooth surface. If you're trying to drill a piece of metal or whatever and you can't, your drill bit will dance all around it. So what you do is put that on it and give it a bang. It'll leave a divot, and that's where you drill then. You've also got your hole saws. You take this part off, slip this bit on and tighten it up. It's for drilling different size holes. Then we've got our star pieces and our hex head pieces then. Different size screws and different shape screws. And also our Phillips and our plane. And you'll notice on this Phillips bit it has these little extra points in between, as opposed to the normal Phillips bit. These are called posi bits, normally for wood screws. So what else have we got? So we've also got a conical bit for widening out holes. We've got a bit for drilling glass or tiles. This is a countersink bit. You use it after drilling a hole so you can get your screw heads flush. The screw head can sit down in the hole it makes. You've got your step drill bit, doing different size holes, normally in tin metal. And I think that's all the drill bits I can show you. If you're doing any work with bolts or nuts, you can use these fellas in your battery drill, putting them in and out. Can be handy sometimes. They're not very deep though, so you can't put a nut on very far or in, but they come in handy sometimes. So I think that's all the drill bits I can show you. Okay, so we're going to go through my screw box here now. It's just a little divider. It's handy for separating out all my screws and things like that. I can just bring this in rather than bringing in 10 different boxes of screws. So we'll just go through what I have here. The common screws for wood anyway, and I suppose I have to confess I use wood screws for more than wood, but the common sizes that I use are these 17s, 20 millimeters, 30 millimeters, 50 millimeters, and 70 and 80 millimeters. They're kind of there's quite a lot of them, but they're the main ones that I find I use. The 17s you can drill into an 18 mil thick board and you won't go through. 30s normally if you're sticking two 18 millimeter bits together. 50s then is good size for hanging stuff. 70s then is for bigger stuff. We've got steel nails. We're going into steel. We've got these little tacks. They're slab nails. They're handy to have as well. We've also these little nails. These are self tappers. You don't have to drill a hole for them. They'll make their own hole as you drive them. That's just staples for my staple gun. These are nails for a nail gun. These are some screws I rescued. I tend to save the screws as long as they have a good head on them and reuse them, as long as it's not for anything too heavy duty. These are little shelf studs. If you're putting up a shelf inside a wardrobe or in one of your kitchen presses or something like that, use them fellas. They're handy for holding up. These fellas are for holding up hanging rail in your wardrobes. So we got these are L brackets or angle brackets. They're good when you're trying to get a side and a bottom piece to stay together. These fellas, you can get them in metal and plastic. They're for drilling into plasterboard to get your fixing. They work very well. I actually like them. I think that's it. They're the screws that come with these fellas. I generally don't use them, but I'll keep them there anyway. And these fellas, they're express nails. You can get them in all different lengths. I use them if I'm doing anything outside, by sticking anything to a wall or anything like that where I need a solid fixing. These are super hard to get out, so make sure you have it right the first time. I think they're the common fixings that I use. I don't generally have to go and look for anything else. I get away with that 90% of the time. So so this is Tomas. He's my eldest boy. He's my right hand man when we're doing anything around the house, aren't you, bud?
Yep.
So he wants to go through his toolbox and show you what tools he has. So what's the first one?
It's this screwdriver. It can also turn into a drill. You can turn into a drill as well. It's a screwdriver. It's got replaceable. You can replace the bits and bobs that go in there and to screw stuff in.
Oh man.
And this is one. And this is a different screwdriver that has lots of other bits for it.
What are the other bits for?
They're just the spares, just for any screwing in case you have, like, for an example, if you needed to get if you had a little fill needed, You put this in here, and then you screw away what you need.
Very handy, good man. Right, what's the next tool?
Where's that thing down? There's the hole. Look.
Important to put them back where they go, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very important, because you'll the next time you want it, you'll think it's in your toolbox, and when you look, you'll be like, where is it?
Very true. Right, you can leave the ones out that you've talked about.
These two
Yeah.
and these are your safety glasses, and these are for wood shaving. These are for wood cutting and metal cutting and all. And you put them on just to make sure, just to protect your eyes. It's very important.
Good man. What's next?
I've actually got a bunch of screwdrivers.
Yeah, it's important to have lots of different ones, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is my working pencil.
Yeah, you have to have a pencil, don't you?
Yep. It's very important. And here's some other pieces of, it's insulating tape.
That's right.
Insulating tape. You need that for wires, because wires could actually sting you. Because when you get to the inside of wires, never touch it without any gloves actually, because you'd get a horrible sting, and it could cause a very big hurt.
It definitely could. What have you got there?
And this is my hammer. This is for hammering nails down.
And what's the other side do?
It pulls out nails.
Yeah, that's right. What else have you got?
I got my spanners. See my spanner hiding in there.
Yeah.
And these are for putting down bolts and taking out bolts.
Yeah, that's right.
They're very handy. All these tools are very, very, very handy.
What else have you got?
And these are my clippers. These are for clipping wires and stuff that you need to clip. They're very useful.
Is that everything?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's all your tools. Good man.
Now we're
So
going.
is there any tools that you'd like to have that you don't have?
Well,
We'll come back to that one. What's the best thing you like to do? What do you like to do? Woodwork or metalwork or electronics or?
electronics and helping my dad with lots of different things.
We do lots of electronic projects, don't we?
Yeah, it's good.
Good man. Right, and that was Tomas talking about his tools. Thanks, bud.
Bye. Make sure to watch next time.
Right, so that's a quick look around at some tools that I have here in the workshop. If there's any tools there that you'd like a closer look at, or you'd like to see me using or show you how to use, just drop a comment down below and I'll be happy to do another video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and follow me on social media for all the latest news on the channel and all my latest videos.